If you have not watched part 1 of our Eminent Domain Nightmare and Pigeon Forge, let me give you a very brief summary before I give you an update, a major update. So my husband and I bought this piece of property, this investment property in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. After we renovated this property from ceiling to floor, everything, gutted it. We live in Ohio, so we drove back and forth from Ohio to Tennessee for 7 months straight. After 7 months of remodeling this house, completely gutting it, we found out that our house was being taken from eminent domain. We found out that the West Side Connector was taking our house out. Now, very long story short, again, go watch part 1. This house, so the mayor sits above us on this piece of property. And the day that we found out, March 6th, we found out March 6, 2023. We found out, we went over to City Hall, confirmed that yes, West Side Connector is taking our house out, and negotiation was going to be starting any day. So not only were we trying to digest that, like, our house is being taken, but that negotiation was going to be starting any day. The next day, I heard from Mayor Ware. Mayor Ware called me. I mean, we've never gone through anything like this. Like, we're just normal people that are just... And said that he watched us renovate this house for 7 months and that he felt terrible because he knew that the West Side Connector was coming through our property. Now, let me pause there and say this. Since then, I have gone to several City Hall meetings, and Mayor Ware has been on record stating that he had no moral obligation to our family to let us know that our house was actually being completely bulldozed down. Because I asked the question, why did you not tell me, come down and tell us that our house is being, completely bulldozed down? And in front of the citizens of Pigeon Forge, he said he had no moral obligation to do so. So March 7th was the day that he told me that he watched us the day after we found out, and he felt terrible. Now, negotiation was starting any day, and actually ended up being 275 days, somewhere around there, before we heard from our negotiator, before Ed Crook and Company is our negotiator, before we heard one word about where we're standing, any updates. I called City Hall so many times asking, where's negotiation? When's it starting? Because we couldn't put it in a rental company because rental companies want contracts. So this house was costing us $3,000 a month, still is to this day. Like right now when I'm filming this, what is today? Today is February 18th. It's still costing us $3,000 a month, and we can't rent it out. The emotional, financial strain, I can't, and you can put yourself in our shoes and imagine. So when this house was supposed to be bringing in money, it was actually costing us $3,000 a month. And that was our first negotiation. They threw us out an offer that was absolutely ridiculous. They never looked at our house as 60 seconds from Parkway. It's like 3 minutes, maybe 4 minutes from Dollywood. It's zoned C6. When they appraised our house as an R2. A C6 means that it's zoned commercial. So if this road, so the road was initially coming through the campground, because there's this campground, so I need to talk about the campground. So the campground actually backs up to our house, and this campground was undeveloped at the time, and the road was initially coming through this campground. An open field campground, eminent domain, first goes through an open field, but not in this case, right? Not in this case. So this campground was undeveloped at the time. When the road moved to bypass the campground completely, the road goes all the way along Mill Creek until it gets to the back of the woods of the campground, and that's where it turns to come and take out our house. But initially the road was coming through the campground. The community wanted that road coming through that campground. But the crazy part is that with this road and the community not wanting this road, that didn't matter. The community basically, it doesn't matter what the community says. It doesn't matter. So everybody has asked me the question, well, you need to find who owns the campground. Find out who owns this campground, and that's going to tell you, it's going to give you the biggest piece of the puzzle. Well, when negotiation, obviously, let me go back with a good negotiation, they zoned it, our house was zoned to C6. If this road would have stayed where the campground, where it was initially coming through, what that would have looked like. If you know Pigeon Forge, so that road eventually is going to become very popular. It's going to be like Teaster Lane on the other side of Parkway. What that would have meant for our property is the value would have skyrocketed, because we could have turned that house into anything. We could have gutted it. We could have turned it into a boutique. I mean, a gas station. We could have put anything on this piece of property, anything. So our property would have skyrocketed if the road would have stayed where it was initially going. So the appraisal, when they appraised our property, they never even appraised it right. They appraised it as an R2. They don't care about that. They're going to give you the lowest amount that they feel that your property's worth, even though they didn't even appraise it properly. So we found out, so we're still back and forth. Obviously we have attorneys involved, all this stuff. We got served our condemnation papers, and we found out who owns the campground. Well, who is one of the owners, because there's multiple owners of the campground. And we found out who one of the owners is. Now, I'm not going to say their name here publicly, but I'm going to say this, that this individual has a very political pull in the city of Pigeon Forge. They have a very political pull, and they can vote on things. And this person voted to condemn our house. Now, they voted to condemn our house, which they have a financial interest in this campground, which now is developed, and it's underway to be opening up in March, which ironically, right? In March, it's millions of dollars. This resort of a campground's millions of dollars. Millions. And I can tell you, it's millions. So this person, one of the owners, is a political person in the community, voted to condemn our house, has a financial interest in the campground. Please help me to make sense of this. So what's happened is they didn't expect a family. First and foremost, we're a praying family. God already has gone ahead of us. God has already warned us. God has already given us dreams. Like, I knew something was coming. I had already dreamed. God warns his people. So what they did not expect was number one, a praying family. Number two, for that God shows us ahead of time. So we are standing our ground. We are standing for the right, and we are standing for what rightfully belongs to us. This was my family's inheritance. We bought this property as an investment property to start our family legacy, to leave the family. This was our family's inheritance, and they completely have ripped it away. Well, they're trying to rip it away, I'll say that. But we're going to dig our toes down. I said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm showing up to every 2 weeks City Hall meeting, and I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep speaking the truth until we get what rightfully belongs to us, or this goes all the way to Supreme Court, because at this point, I'm willing to take it as far as I can. The FBI, the Attorney General, all evidence needs to be, they need to know what's going on. They need to know. So stay tuned. Just an update. We did find out who owns the campground, and it's mind-blowing who part owns the campground. It's mind-blowing. Very political person. Mind-blowing. So stay tuned.
The decision had already been made. I don't know how to make that decision. I don't know how to do that.
I guess then that's where people make it right. When they make a mistake, they make it right.
Okay, how does that work?
I don't know. You're the mayor. You should tell me.
I don't know how to make it right.
I mean, you guys should know the procedure more than we do.